Shalom, 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 everybody. Hope all is well. I'm coming live on Dominique's page tonight. Facebook blocked me for 30 days. You know how they are when it's too much truth getting out there. They try to shut you down. But we're keeping it moving. We got Dominique on the phone. Shalom, Empress, how are you? Yes, so tonight, it's a very serious talk. And it's concerning circumcision. So this is the Return of the Matriarch presents Tell the Whole Truth, and we're going to have a detailed discussion tonight on the origins of circumcision, how wicked those practices are, and it's actually a generational curse of mind control that is passed down. So we started this yesterday. I didn't even know it was going to get this deep into it, but what we realized is that circumcision has been one of the main culprits as to why there is such a disconnect in male-female relationships. So this is not going to be our opinions. We did some research. We really haven't got into it, but I'm going to read a couple articles that we did find. And, just show you what we found. This article is called Circumcision is Torture and Child Abuse. Baby boys are being brutally tortured every 25 seconds in the United States. Let's not mince words about it. That's what circumcision is: torture, sexual assault, genital mutilation, unconscionable child abuse, and possibly the worst violation of human rights in history. The mother of an only daughter, I really had no reason, as the mother of an only daughter, I really had no reason to research circumcision. I had no idea of the horrors it entailed until recently. One of the moms in our Peaceful Parenting Playdate group enlightened me in the park last week. She sent me a few links and I dove in. What a can of worms. After several sleepless nights and nightmares during the first few hours I slept, I almost wish I hadn't opened it. But if I can stop one person from allowing his or her son to become a victim of this atrocity, it will be well worth it. To summarize what I have learned, circumcision is one of the most excruciatingly painful things that can happen to a person, much less to a wide-awakened baby, too young for general anesthesia. A violent attack on that magnitude has permanent and devastating psychological effects. Mutilating male genitals deprives men and women of sexual pleasures, makes it difficult for men to connect emotionally to sex, and can therefore have detrimental effects on romantic relationships. Circumcision is not Christian, it's unethical and evil no matter what your religion, so don't use religion as an excuse. All circumcisions were done without any anesthesia until the 1980s. The vast majority, 96%, as of 1997, still are done without any anesthesia today. Babies that do receive anesthesia are receiving inadequate local anesthesia, not general anesthesia, as they are too young for it. In the old days, doctors claimed anesthesia wasn't necessary because newborns couldn't feel pain. As absurd as that sounds, countless studies had to be done to convince people that not only do newborns feel pain, they feel it more intensely than adults. Though local anesthesia is probably better than nothing at all, it is only slightly better. Studies show it does not significantly reduce the adrenal cortisol stress response, although the injection of anesthesia is very painful in and of itself. The foreskin is the most sensitive part of a male's body, other than the head of the penis itself, with more nerve endings per square inch than any other body part. Circumcision has been likened to having a sharp metal instrument jammed under one's fingernail down to the base and shoved around back and forth until the entire nail is separated from the nail bed and then sliced off. Here is a link to multiple circumcision videos with millions worth. So she's sharing some links, and we're going to share these links in the talk as well. I'm sorry I didn't put them in the heading, but I will. I'll edit it after we're done. I'm going to continue reading. I only watched the first and last and had to stop. I got sick to my stomach and was still shaking with rage 15 minutes after watching them. And these are just videos posted by medical professionals for training purposes. I'm sure you could find much worse ones on YouTube that doctors don't want to see, but again, I wouldn't recommend it. And anyway, she's talking about the video. So let's get to the part that was like, this is where I had to stop reading because it just was too much. So this is her describing one of the videos that they have available on YouTube to watch the circumcision of a young baby boy. By the time he clamps a heavy metal wrench-like instrument around the base of his tiny penis to hold it in place for the cutting, the baby's blood-curdling screams turn into what sounds like him swallowing his tongue. They don't show his face, but the sounds alternate between heart-wrenching screams, choking, not breathing, and gasping for air. His arms are shaking and occasionally swinging, and his body is convulsing. I've read that oftentimes the initial crying from being restrained and or injected with anesthesia suddenly stops when the mutilation begins. Their eyes bulge and then their bodies go stiff. They remain silent and still through the rest of the surgery and appear to the parents to be sleeping when it is over. Sometimes they're told, he slept right through it. This does not mean they are not in pain. It means they are in shock and their bodies have gone into a semi-coma to cope with the overwhelming agony. Total silence likely indicates the baby is experiencing more traumatic stress than a screaming baby. Psychiatrist John Reinhardt describes the silent or sleep-like reactions as follows. Since he can't fight, flee, or freeze, the only defense mechanism a baby being circumcised has left is a shock defense, which consists of central nervous system flooding by terror, rage, and finally numbing, paralysis, and dissociation. This is his last chance to control the high level of central nervous system activation, which might otherwise result in death. Watching videotapes of neonates being circumcised portrays this clearly to the aware eye. The so-called quiet after circumcision is most likely a state of dissociation in response to the overwhelming pain and terror that is a state of peaceful relaxation. And that brings us to psychological trauma. Though some claim that physical pain of circumcision is quickly forgotten, the emotional scars last lifetimes. Boys and men may not consciously remember the torture, but they remember it subconsciously and can experience post-traumatic stress when faced with similar threatening situations later in life. A study showed circumcised baby boys exhibited symptoms of PTSD while undergoing routine vaccinations at 6 months of age, compared to uncircumcised boys who had much smaller pain and stress responses. Dr. Reinhardt, mentioned above, has documented his psychoanalysis of grown men who experience PTSD 50 and 60 years after their circumcisions. Many men who were circumcised as neonates consider it a non-issue because they cannot remember anything about it. In my psychotherapeutic work with men, however, it is clear that the memory is there. Since the event occurred at a very early pre-verbal level, it is most often experienced as a body or somatic memory rather than as a more familiar verbal memory. Various disturbing mental images and intense feelings often accompany the reemergence of this body memory, including the feeling of sharp metallic instruments cutting into one's flesh, the sense of being overpowered by big people, being alone and helpless, feelings of terror, and a sense of paralysis and immobilization. Keep in mind that a boy is usually circumcised within his first few days of life. He's been comfortable, warm, and protected in his mother's womb for 9 months. It's possible the only person he is aware of is the woman who's been nursing him, holding him, kissing him, and whispering sweet nothings into his ear. Then suddenly he is strapped down by a stranger, tortured beyond comprehension, and put back into his mother's arms. Think about the damage that does to the mother-son bond. He can't trust her anymore. For all he knows, she was complicit with the activity. She didn't appear to do anything to try to stop it. He can't trust his father either. He can't trust anyone. His very first impression of the world is agonizing sexual torture. He doesn't know why this happened or what he did to deserve it, but his mom is nursing him again like everything is normal, and his dad is patting his head. The world becomes a terrifying, cruel, unpredictable place where the one who supposedly loved him could turn on him at any moment. He shuts down emotionally to cope with the pain of betrayal. Reinhardt says long-term psychological effects of circumcision include a sense of personal powerlessness, fears of being overpowered and victimized, lack of trust in others and life, a sense of vulnerability to violent attack, guardedness in relationships, reluctance to be in a relationship with women, defensiveness, diminished sense of maleness. A lot of our men are becoming gay. Low self-esteem, shame about not measuring up, anger and violence toward women. We see a lot of that, especially with the Hebrew Israelites. You know, they're very angry and violent men toward females. Why? When you came from a female. Irrational rage reactions, addictions, and dependencies. A lot of our men are strung out on drugs. I was married to 2 of them. Difficulties in establishing intimate relationships, emotional numbing, need for intensity in sexual experience. Melanated men are very promiscuous, very promiscuous. Sexual callousness, decreased tenderness and intimacy, decreased ability to communicate, feelings of not being understood. So, Dominique, you know, with what you've learned from, you know, the effects of circumcision, what can you add? You know, and you know, to even get personal, because we kind of mentioned it yesterday. You know, you have 2 children, 2 sons. One you was circumcised and one is not circumcised. So, you know, I had asked you, are you able to notice a difference in your relationship with your 2 sons? And you had said yes. So can you just elaborate a little bit, you know, and add to the negative effects of circumcision? So what are some of the differences that you've noticed, you know, between, and I know, you know, Ash, he's younger, he's not even 1. But you know, what's the difference that you notice with your 2 sons as far as your connection and I guess your bond? Yeah.
like how serious it is. Like, I mean, I don't really know, but I could just tell that it's more than it's more than just about the women. It's just people in general. So I don't know if that has something to do with what is the word? I guess awareness is what the word I want to find. Being more aware of things and not being afraid to create power with people is more so because of the fear of being
rejected. I mean, it talks about that being
or
insecure. You know, even being, you know, man, it takes away your manliness and makes you soft or, you know, effeminate. You know, they try to say, well, it's the black woman that effeminized these men, but no, it happened. I mean, it was us that ultimately made the decision to, hey, get our sons circumcised, but it was all through deception.
Right. So, you know, like I said,
people in general, definitely. What is his name? Tuomaya. Tuomaya is talking trash. He must be circumcised. Shalom. Shalom, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We don't have time for disrespect. We're trying to bring our people together with the whole truth.
Right.
You know? Yeah. So, I mean, why you got to be disrespectful? Indeed. This is serious business. We don't have time.
Because at the end of the day, this is what the kids heard about this information. The mothers are too. The ones that the women say that are wrong, you know, learn from them.
Can you go ahead? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure everyone can hear Dominique. Okay, I turned the speaker around, so hopefully you can hear her more clear. She says we were led by the ways of the world, not the inner, to circumcision our sons. No, it's wicked, you know, and a lot of men especially, you know, they say, well, Abraham. Well, when you research the scriptures and you use a concordance, because the scriptures is a sealed book, they hid the truth, you know, behind words. It's word magic. So you got to know how to unseal the book, and you use a concordance to do that. But when you go into the origin of each word that is being used, you can clearly see that Abraham was deceived. He was deceived. The origin of when Asha was talking about circumcision, it was dealing with matters of the heart. Deuteronomy 10 verse 16. Deuteronomy chapter 10 verse 16. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. It was all about obedience to our Maker. You know, we started operating from a level of ego, and you know, had really just become something that we wasn't made to be. And so it has resulted into where we are now. And we have to literally unlearn all the lies. We have to embrace the truth, because that's what makes us free. You know, this is a very touchy topic. I went and pulled up some articles, because we know that in the beginning it was only melanated women on this earth. And then we created man. So the actual Bible, the God of your Bible, is the melanated woman. All life comes through the womb, not a rib. I'm sorry. I've never seen a man deliver any children through his ribs. It just doesn't happen. So went into some history on, you know, where does circumcision come from? And we know that we are in a fallen state, or we're operating at a low vibration, right? So where did we fall from? If we're at a low vibration, where is this high vibration? So I say that to say that the origin of circumcision and us doing this had to begin with the melanated woman. Yeah. Everything that is in this world, on this earth, started with us first. And so we are reaping what we have sown. Indeed. And so it is going to be up to us to usher in restoration, and it's going to take us unlearning and relearning the truth and not being afraid to embrace it. Everybody has made bad decisions. I don't believe in mistakes. It's either good decisions or bad decisions. Sometimes you just don't make the right decision. So it was a bad decision, but at the end of the day, we have to be accountable and we have to take responsibility, because nobody is going to come out of the sky and save us. We are not getting off the hook. We're going to have to fix this ourselves. And so this is a forum where we're trying to bring us together as a people so that we can unite, because a house divided can't stand. So the true origin of circumcision, I take full responsibility as a melanated woman. Yeah. And so I'm doing with learning and unlearning and teaching the truth that I'm coming into contact with. And I would hope that we all do the same. But we're going to read what, I found an article. It kind of gives some insight on the origin of circumcision, why it was done, so on and so forth. And this is called The History of Circumcision. And again, we'll put the links in the topic or in the heading of the talk at the end. So the medicalization of circumcision. Circumcision used to be confined to just religious and tribal groups until the mid-19th century. At the time, physicians believed that masturbation was not only immoral but unhealthy and caused all manner of physical and mental disease. To combat the evils of masturbation, physicians implemented circumcision in both sexes. They still do it in Africa, right? They're mutilating females over there. Although the indoctrination of male-female circumcision seems extreme today, it fit nicely into the historical context of the times. Sexuality, especially male sexuality, was seen as perverse, aggressive, and a threat to the social order during the Victorian era at the turn of the 19th century. Genital surgery was commonplace, whether it be the application of carbolic acid on the clitoris or the insertion of high voltage electric probes in genital orifices to solve all types of promiscuity, masturbatory insanity, a medical term, being a major one. One can see college humor's crude and comical yet surprisingly accurate depiction of this time here, which is also indicative of the changing mindset in the youthful generation. Evidence to support circumcision. In addition to stemming the tide of masturbation, doctors had an actual public health crisis on their hands: venereal diseases. At the turn of the century, gonorrhea and syphilis were epidemic in urban populations because they was giving it to us, right? They shooting it to us under the guise of vaccinations. We were just like, they were testing stuff out on us. Having a tentative grasp on germ theory, physicians postulated that the hardened skin on the circumcised penis was resistant to the microbes that seep from those infected with VD. To prove this hypothesis, physicians performed population studies of circumcised versus intact men and discovered that circumcised men had significantly lower mortality, morbidity, and STD rates than intact men. The catch? The only circumcised men back then were Jewish men. What the researchers failed to realize was that they were studying the difference in Jewish and Gentile culture, not the effects of the presence or absence of a foreskin. Since Jews tend to occupy higher socioeconomic classes, yeah, right, they're the nastiest people on the earth, and are often demographically more educated and sexually more conservative, they enjoyed lower mortality, morbidity, and STD contraction rates. Mark of high class. From the 1800s onwards, America underwent a cleanliness reform where bathing regularly became a symbol of high class. Simultaneously, genitals were classified by default as unclean, especially normal genital secretions, to conform to the prevailing Victorian ideology. Since circumcision made masturbation difficult, genitally intact males don't need lube to masturbate. When a man has not been circumcised and is still intact, that's what the foreskin is for. It's like using some type of lube, to masturbate or whatever. That's what the foreskin does. it naturally glides in and out of that skin, and it's necessary. Let me get back here. I'm sorry, I lost my place. Since circumcision made masturbation difficult, genitally intact men don't need lube to masturbate. Removed from the presence of smegma, healthy genital secretions all male and female mammals produce, and blunted sexual pleasure, it was welcome in sexually repressed 19th century America. So basically, you know, they were trying to tone it down. And I mean, they say, I mean, Dominique, is this whole sexual attraction, is it natural? Or is this a result of vibrating on a low frequency? Let's see, we lost the Empress. You still there, Dama? What do you think, brothers and sisters?
What you say?
I was saying, is you know, the sexual attraction between male and female, is that natural, or is it a result of vibrating at a low frequency? I mean, even this article is saying that, you know, they saw the discharge of anything as being unclean. In Leviticus 15, it speaks about how the discharge of semen is unclean. And, you know, for a woman to have a menstrual, that's unclean. Because until we started eating meat and just really messed up the whole food chain, we wasn't bleeding all over the place. That wasn't happening to us. We had no need for sanitary napkins or none of that stuff. But definitely eating meat is the main culprit. And of course our environment, you know.
Yes.
But what do you feel in terms of sexuality? Is it natural, or is it a result of the fall?
Well, I definitely feel it's a result of the fall, because I'm sure, you know, she has shown us that sex is not natural. What would be the purpose of sex if it's not needed for conception? There is no purpose.
So, you know, why isn't it needed for conception? Because we have, you know, some new listeners. Everybody may not be, you know, well versed in what we teach. But what is it?
Well, we know that women to procreate, we are able to bear children on our own without the help of a man. Our seed are fully developed fetuses.
Our what?
Our seeds are fully developed fetuses. Our seed is our eggs are the seed.
The seed? I thought the sperm of the man was the seed.
Now, the bones are extended ovaries. So, I mean, they are mutated females and all.
So the testicles of the man are fallen ovaries, and a man's penis is an elongated clitoris. We have learned. Yeah, you have men get breast cancer. Some men produce milk. Right, your prostate is an incomplete uterus. You know, this is anatomy 101. It's the truth. So there's no need for sex if, you know, life comes through the womb and not a rib, because, I mean, you know, all they did is flip things around. They just changed genders. Eve is the first Adam. Adam said it in Genesis 3:20 that Eve is the mother of all living. Wasn't he living? I mean, it's just right there in plain sight, you know, but we do not take it upon ourselves to study to show ourselves approved. You know, we'd rather have somebody teach us. And the scriptures tell us in Jeremiah 17:5 that to put your trust in anybody is to curse yourself. How can you put your trust in anybody? We all on the same, it's a, you know, a level playing field here. But we do have a source. And she reveals the hidden things and the secret things to those she chooses. But you have to seek her diligently, right? We didn't create ourselves. I had a sister today that I had to let her know, well, it seems like you feel like you want Ashah's glory. trying to tell me that her tribe, she's gonna circumcise the men because that's what the indigenous ancestors did. So what? The indigenous ancestors fell too. And they dead and gone, ain't they? They give them too much glory. We were never meant to die, right? We were supposed to be immortal, but something went wrong. And if we're trying to follow the ancestors, we're just gonna be in the same situation, right? It's just going in a circle. We have to do something different. We cannot do the same thing expecting different results. We have to learn from our past. We have to learn from our ancestors. How can you rationalize that cutting off a man's penis is righteous? We were born with everything we need. If we didn't need it, we wouldn't have been born with it. Asha says she doesn't make any mistakes. I told you they don't exist. Everything she made was good and very good. Straight up.
Right. When you decode the scriptures, it talks about circumcision is a covenant between demons. With demons, had a covenant with them. I actually had pulled up what the word circumcised means.
Can you hear now, Miss Tammy? She said she can't hear Dominique. Let me see if I flip the phone over. That ain't how I had it. Can you hear now? Go ahead and read. She's going to read what the definition of circumcision means. And let us know if you can hear her. You definitely want to make sure you can hear.
Okay, so this is coming from Genesis chapter 16, verse 10. And I'm just going to read the verse and say what the word circumcised means. So it says, "This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man-child among you shall be circumcised." And so when you go to the word circumcised, the Strong's number is H4135, and it says to cut, that is quartel, by implication to blunt, destroy.
To destroy.
Yes.
That's what
and so when you go to the, yes. And when you go to the word blunt,
yes.
Yes, destroy, that word right there just say a lot already. And when you go to the word blunt and you look that word up, it talks about how it basically, because you know that the penis or the foreskin is basically an antenna for the man and it's connected directly to their brain. And it talks about how basically cutting their foreskin off makes it harder for them to understand simple things. And it's in scripture. It says it in scripture.
Wow. I mean, this thing is so. I just wonder, how did they find that out, though? How did they know to do this would do that?
We have to tell them. We have to. I mean, we know that. We know that the brown man told the white people everything, and everything stems from the women. But what I would like to know is why do we? Because we know that the women had to be started and circumcised first. So why would we start circumcising ourselves?
Right. That's because I was just thinking.
Maybe it was a sacrifice because we know that the Moshe women were sacrificing other women and their children.
They were.
So maybe it was some type of. That's probably where human sacrifice came from, was with circumcision.
It had to be. But why that area? Well, because of what it does to the brain. It's mind control.
Yeah, so maybe that was how we was able. That's something we probably have to discuss offline.
Yes, so as we're speaking and doing this talk, things are coming to us. But I just want to recap what the psychological effects of circumcision include: a sense of personal powerlessness, fears of being overpowered and victimized, lack of trust in others and life, a sense of vulnerability to violent attack, guardedness in relationships, reluctantness to be in relationships with women, defensiveness, diminished sense of maleness, low self-esteem, shame about not measuring up, anger and violence towards women, irrational rage reactions, addictions and dependencies, difficulties in establishing intimate relationships, emotional numbing, need for more intensity in sexual experiences, sexual callousness, decreased tenderness and intimacy, decreased ability to communicate, and feelings of not being understood. That's a lot.
It is.
You know, can we hear from the men, from the brothers? Shalom, brothers, you know, I mean, do you feel that circumcision has affected your life? I mean, I know a lot of men have gotten circumcised when they were babies, and so you can't remember, but you know, according to the psychologist, he says that it's a deeply rooted anger and resentment that you harbor, and so it overshadows all of your relationships to where you can't trust, or you can't be open, or you know, you feel insecure, you feel like you're not good enough, and this can be brothers that got it all together. I've seen it before.
They don't even know.
Let's see if we have any comments. It's deeply rooted in the subconscious.
Yes.
Jimmy, he must be circumcised too. He coming all reckless out his mouth. Sad.
I can't even see the comment.
It's all good. You don't need to see that.
But I know it was an article that we was reading a while back that it was a few men that weren't circumcised and they had got circumcised, and they was talking about how they regretted it. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, when we first started looking into it.
Mhm.
Yes, I don't remember the details,
Mhm.
but I mean, it seems almost like, let me go. It's one, I was reading one article, and it was just talking about, I mean, even, you know, brothers, they always, you know, the religious brothers who ascribe to the Bible, you talk about the laws of Moses and, you know, the covenant of Abraham, the covenant, but Moses wasn't even circumcised. The Israelites that was in the wilderness that came out with Joshua after Moses had died, they wasn't even circumcised. They didn't become circumcised until they made it into the promised land. So they were, you know, in the wilderness for 40 years. You can read that in Joshua chapter 5. Let me read that.
Right, and why wasn't Adam circumcised?
Right. You know, Adam wasn't circumcised.
And then you know that scripture. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. Yeah, you go.
You know the scripture that talk about how Asha was going to basically punish the circumcised with the uncircumcised.
Right, and so they say, well, we do it to be set apart, but how? Because all the nations are doing it. So how does circumcision make you set apart? It doesn't make sense.
And then why they don't do it around the parents?
Yeah, why don't they do it around the parents?
Why you can't do it around the parents?
Right, because they know that it'll be a done deal if parents witness what's really happening to their children. It's sad. I'm just going to read this scripture. I think it was Joshua 5:5. Now, all the people that came out were circumcised, but all the people that were born in the wilderness by the way, as they came forth out of Egypt, them they had not circumcised. So Moses and his sons wasn't circumcised. But, you know, the scriptures tell us that the pens of the scribes is in vain. That's why we have to rightfully divide it. And it takes some tedious studying. You can't just read it for the English that, you know, English is it makes us curse ourselves. Everything means the opposite of what we think it means.
So what scripture say the pen is in vain, sis?
That's Jeremiah 8:8. It tells you the pens of the scribes is in vain. They're saying they can't hear.
That's Facebook then.
Yeah, it got to be Facebook. So let me see if I can hear us. But I'm just going to check out the volume before we continue right quick, brothers and sisters.
Okay.
Let me just make sure. Somebody reporting my let me just make sure. I'm sorry. Can you hear? Okay. I think it's good. I think we're good now. All right.
Okay.
So it's another article that I had pulled up that talks about the history, and this was the same one that was talking about the Jews. Moses not being circumcised. But for the most part, just going back through the history, it was all tradition or, something made up. It's not medically necessary. So, all of those reasons for, mutilating your son it's all lies, and we have to stop it.
Like, my thing is, okay, they talk about how getting circumcision prevents them from getting infections and stuff. Why are men still getting infections if that prevents them from getting infections?
I mean, it seemed like you would be safe with it hooded. Be safer.
Right. Right. And they talk about well, we know hygiene. Why would you want to walk around without cleaning yourself anyway? That should be cleaned.
And they make such a big deal
without one or with it.
Right. And they make such a big deal about, how you have to clean. Like it just takes so much to pull the skin back and clean and go. It's not,
right.
it's but this is something that we definitely need to be more aware of. We need to, spread this knowledge, because this is some serious generational mind control and what it's doing to the men. And then ultimately, we wonder why there's so much strife between the genders. And this is a very valid reason. It's a very valid reason. So, if we inflicted this upon the men, then is this the reason why they rebelled? Did we make them wicked?
Man, I would assume.
I mean,
I wonder why, though.
We talking about account. I mean, they were experiments too, in a way.
Right.
Because the pictures that we saw from the original man, they had breasts with the extended clitoris. So they look more feminine.
Yeah, that's true.
So, they talk about Yaakov, but we know they changed the genders. The melanated woman is God, right? Life comes through the womb, not the rib. The melanated woman can produce any nation on earth. Every nation of people. We did a lot.
We did.
Let's see if we have any comments or any questions. I'm going to post these articles. I'm going to read one more. Article about the circumcision and the mother, and because this right here, it pinpoints the African. They call us Africans, but we know we're not African. They didn't bring us here on slave ships. We've always been in the Americas. We are the original peoples of this land. This is the reason Christopher Columbus came here, because he knew we were here. He knew we are the chosen people. He knew exactly what was here. He knew this was Atlantis. This is the Garden of Eden. This is Egypt. This is Jerusalem. This is all of it. It's all here. It's all the Americas. So this is called circumcision. It's mother-child trauma brainwashing. Circumcision, torture, mutilation is designed to destroy the bond between mother and son and freeze the mother's heart. The idea that a parallel intention of child mutilation is to freeze up the emotional powers of the mother with feelings of failure and guilt came to me from my mother, sadly, after she had passed. This theory had been affirmed by every mother with whom I've discussed the technology. It's not accidental that the Illuminati uses lies, violence, and trauma to freeze up the feminine heart and stifle its power with feelings of rejection, failure, and guilt. In his letter, slaveholder Willie Lynch described the use of torture by which slaveholders could freeze the hearts of the otherwise strong and caring mothers of future African slaves. When she becomes a mother, each female experiences a deep intuitive desire to nurse and protect her young. This is a deep and structural kind of bodily knowledge. It may even run deeper than her desire for survival. The characteristic protective desire of the feminine principle is one of the most powerful forces in nature. The Illuminati and their forces of darkness have been unable to eradicate it, even after 350 million years of evolution. The Willie Lynches of the world are ceaselessly searching for new technologies of oppression. They know that if a mother's evolutionary knowledge and deep sense of duty to protect can be somehow perverted, say by ritualistic, brutal, and violent humiliation, then this powerful force of nature can be frozen out, and the process of evolution itself can be diverted from the benefit of the slaveholder. If the emotional system of the mother can be traumatized and frozen, she can then easily be infused with deep feelings of guilt and shame and unnatural helplessness. The powers of the mother can then be easily controlled for purposes of stopping or even reversing evolution. The Willie Lynches of this world need only invite the young slave mother to violate the pre-verbal knowledge that resides deep within her bosom. The feelings of guilt will begin to set in, by which she can then be controlled. In order for this to work, the mother must never be allowed to talk about how she felt violated, about how her heart became frozen, as she was forced to witness the violent torture, mutilation of her husband, father, or infant child, or any infant child for that matter. And so, Dominique, that answers your questions why they do not let, because they tested it out on us and seen we can't let them see what we're doing. And we know that the doctors today, they are the children and descendants of these slaves. The blood still run through their veins, man. They just got more, more wise with how they're gonna do their bidding on us, with, these doctors or whatever. But what I will say next will not be easily understood by many readers. The primary goal of infant male genital torture mutilation, politely known as male circumcision, is to attack and freeze the heart of the young mother. Her heart is attacked so as to gain control of her for religious and political mind control purposes. With the frozen heart, she is controlled by the silent feelings of guilt and inevitably creep in. It may seem paradoxical, but she, or actually the protective force of nature that beats within her bosom, is the actual target. All of you cut men out there, ask your mothers before they passed from the window of life how they felt immediately after the torture mutilation of their child. Ask her what you were like before torture mutilation and what changes did she observe. Would you look her in the eye? Did you refuse her breast? How did she feel about that? It's also helpful to know when, how old you were, and where the operation was performed. Also ask her what the doctor said and did just before he took you from your mother's arms, and if he prevented her from being a witness. The operation is bloody, painful, and noisy, and once heard, the screams of a helpless infant child being tortured will give any mother nightmares. They are never to be forgotten. Listen carefully and warmly, with total love and forgiveness in your heart. You will be a witness as to the memories of pain that have been frozen in her heart for all these years slowly begin to thaw out right in front of you. That silence of your mother was a suffering of your mother's heart. The pain that you have long forgotten was nothing compared to the pain that had been hiding, frozen within her young mother's heart all these years. The child loses trust. It's a medical fact that after this painful ritual, the infant child is returned to its mother in a neurochemically frozen or catatonic state. For months, the level of cortisol, the hormone of death, will be at 1 times over pre-torture baseline in the limbic brainstem and in the left trunk of the sympathetic nerve system, which covers the digestive system and the heart. After studies of MK Ultra, it is now fully documented that the traumatized infant will refuse to trust its parents. The Bible calls this distrust, circumcision of the infant's heart. The distrust is deep and pre-verbal, at pre-formative levels. It's not an accidental side effect of the intentional trauma. The child will also refuse to look its mother in the eye, potentially forever. Before its torture mutilation, it loved to trust its mother and gaze into her beautiful symmetrical face, forming images at the deepest formative levels, all the while beaming pure innocence and joy. The Willie Lynch treatment puts an end to that. The traumatized child will also refuse to attach to and nurse its mothers, often for periods up to 6 to 18 months. The modern versions of Willie Lynch, aka our medical doctors, know that this refusal to nurse will produce a deep sense of guilt in the mother. For many, the rejection shuts down her breastfeeding system totally, and she is forced to bottle feed. The medical Willie Lynches know without breast milk, the development of the child's immune system becomes stunted. And then what else happens, Dominique, with the formula that they give? What is in the formula that they give? This formula that a lot of the mothers, especially melanated women, are given to.
Well, we know it's estrogen in there. That's those are what they call female hormones. But why would you put female hormones in milk? And then it's all, I forgot the name of it, but it turns black after a while. And this girl that I went to school with, she found some of it in her baby's milk. I don't know the name of it. I forgot the name of the stuff.
And so, all of this is a conspiracy and a plot to keep us mentally controlled. I mean, this is really, it's mind blowing. The effects of this practice, and for us to even think it's okay to do this to our children.
And it's like they really targeting the babies.
Yeah, because they are the future. So if they can mess them up, that's, what do they call it when they create the different personalities and how they split your mind? Like, this is that kind of pain.
That's why all these babies got autism now.
Man, we definitely, brothers and sisters, need to get this information out. Please share this video and look into this yourself. And Asha had said that the men, they're going to have to go back to their mothers for healing. And I was just saying, I didn't understand how in depth that is. And this is the reason why. Because the saying goes that if a man is not respecting his mom, you can't really expect him to respect you. And I really want to hear from the brothers.
Yeah, I think we should see if there's anybody that's willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me see.
Or even a woman that can, because I know if you look at the comment, there's a sister on there that was talking about, I think, how they let her see the circumcision, or she witnessed the circumcision before.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to look.
Angela.
Uh-huh. Wow. Okay, I said, when I watched the circumcision, I was disgusted because I took my child through that. It was traumatizing. Oh, Empress.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I did feel bad afterwards. But that's one of the reasons why we cannot be trying to be doing what our ancestors did.
Yeah, we cannot follow in the ways of our ancestors. The Shah say to seek the old paths, but not the ways that, that don't mean what our ancestors were doing. Right. They mean the universal laws, like, the herbs of the land is for meat, not the animals. That's not the meat that we're supposed to be eating. Stuff like that. You know, just natural law. We know the difference between right and wrong. Don't nobody have to tell us, man. At the end of the day, we know the difference for the most part. Now, there's some stuff out there I can admit that, you know, you really don't know what to believe, but we know enough to at least come together and start making a difference in our circle. And I'm speaking specifically to the melanated man, woman, and child in North America, because y'all my people. As far as I'm concerned, this is who I know, is you all. And so this is what my mission, Dominique, you are our mission. It's to show you what we know, and you know, we learn from you all too. But that's what our purpose is to bring us together. And while doing that, it's a lot of things that we have to let go, that we have to learn, relearn, unlearn, and it's not going to be easy. It's not, but we have to start from somewhere, you know, and to know that this is something that is ingrained in our fabric as a people. We got to cut it out. This is not good, and it explains a lot with male-female relationships. You know, especially when men get older. You know, even a few brothers on this live being disrespectful. I ain't even say nothing disrespectful, but they just comment because it's, you know, they circumcised. They circumcised the wrong foreskin. You're supposed to be circumcising the foreskin of your heart, and not walking in ego. Walking in love and humility. You know, that don't mean that you're being a punk. You know, we don't turn the other cheek over here. It's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But at the end of the day, everybody deserves respect. And that's another thing that we have to learn as a people. We don't have to agree, but we do have to respect each other. How can you, I don't want to be around nobody talking all crazy to me. Like, forget you. Straight up. That's the least we can do, is respect each other. My grandfather, he always say, Shonda, it don't cost you nothing to be nice, baby. And it don't. It don't take all that. So I you know, I mean, pretty much we don't have to keep trying to, you know, I can read a little bit more of this article, but really, I think we've said enough concerning this, you know, and we really have to, what I want to know is, Asha said that the men would have to go back to their mothers for healing. How is the healing going to come about, Dominique? Do you know? Because I mean, you are definitely someone who is experiencing this personally. So, you know, do you know what's going to be the end as far as like how would the healing take place?
Well, I do feel like we're going to have to seek our shine about it. But, you know, I'm not sure. That's something I was questioning. I don't know. I mean, I know we do have to accept what we've done. You know, that's the first step for any kind of growth. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I'm not really maybe just knowing what we did and what we did it for will help us gain some type of closure. Just the knowledge itself.
Indeed.
I'm not sure. I mean, I really won't know until the process starts. Yeah. Well, this is starting. This is starting the process, really.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, and the scripture said it's going to be a great morning for everything that we did. Angela says, just like we have to speak to our womb, men do too. They have to speak to it. Wow.
What she say?
She said, just like we have to speak to our womb, men do too. They have to speak to it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we understand, Empress. It's life and death in the tongue, right? Yeah. That's serious. So again, brothers and sisters, please share this video. We're going to add links to the articles that we were reading from. And check out all the videos. We've been doing videos. I'm blocked from my page for 30 days. So we're going to be coming live on Dominique's page. I did create a new page. You can add me under LaShonda the Branch. But, you know, I don't have as many friends on the new page as I do my old page. So I'm not able to reach as many of you, or you don't know when we're going live. So we're going to go live on Dominique's page so that we can keep it moving. But we have been doing lessons all week. And we have some really good lessons that, you know, we're sharing. So we will share those now so you can check everything out, and please share. You know, the knowledge is the power, you know, and that's what's going to eventually get us back together again, is us coming in a oneness and, you know, agreeing in spirit and in truth. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right now everybody kind of all over the place, but there's only one truth at the end of the day, you know? And so that's what we're seeking, and that's what we seek every day. We don't claim to know it all, but what we do come to know for a fact, for a matter of a fact, like for sure, we share that, you know. So tune in tomorrow. We're going to be coming live. We don't have a topic yet, but, you know, we'll definitely let you all know. We usually go on at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So y'all be looking, you know, for the notifications from Dominique's page, and we just going to keep at it and keep sharing what's coming to us to share. Any new information we find out about anything. Our final destination is Peru. That is the true Jerusalem, the true Zion. That's where they took us from. We are the Inca warriors from Peru. We do have some good news. Our dear sister, there's a sister that left Babylon by faith, with her 3 children. And I've traveled from the U.S. to Belize. My ex traveled from the U.S. He went to jail. This lady got into Belize without a passport. So can't nobody tell me Asha not real, that Asha is not working out miracles on behalf of her people. She said to flee from the land of the north and to deliver ourselves from the daughter of Babylon. The reason why Genesis 15 verses 13 and 14 speaks about our 400 years in bond. Let me read it to you, because I don't know if y'all know, but it says 400 years. It talks about how they had us in slavery for 400 years and what is getting ready to happen to this place. America is being judged, and we can see it deteriorating every single day, right? It's not what it used to be, and it never will be ever again. Babylon is falling. Genesis chapter 15, verses 13 and 14. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance. This land is not ours. Our land is central, actually from Texas all the way down to South America is Shem's portion, right? The real Mount Sinai, the real Egypt, the real Edom, Palestine, Samaria, all that is in Texas. It's all in Texas. So, you know, only the Americas exist. You know, they try to make us feel like it's continents, and man, we got some bombshells, and we're gonna bring it. We're gonna bring the truth. You know, this is the final hour. You know, we don't have to be afraid. We don't have to live our life in fear and feel like we can't talk. And Asha said, don't hold back to proclaim. The females will lead. Melanated women, we are the leaders. We were formed first. We were put in this earth first. We made a lot of bad decisions, and it's going to be we that is going to clean it up. We're going to clean this place up. The women will lead. The men will protect. That's the natural order of things. Life comes through the womb, not a rib. No man should be ruling over a woman. That's a curse. Okay? All men came through the womb of a woman. You cannot rule over that which you came from. Right? That's what, ladies, that's what we try to do to Asha. And so, you know, we have reaped. And so all praise Asha. Her mercy is definitely enduring forever. And so we have another chance to usher in this righteous kingdom. Nobody's perfect. And nobody's telling you, nobody's coming at you like that. We just like literally having adult to adult conversation and dialogue. Like, this is serious business. And I'm hoping, brothers and sisters, that you reach out to us so that we can build. Let's talk on the phone. You know, if I need to come to your city, let's seriously build. This is what we had to come back here for. We were already in paradise. We had to come back to get the people. That's what Asha said. I screamed and hollered and fought with Asha. I didn't want to come back here. No way, Jose. But I'm here. I have to be, obedience is better than sacrifice to me. So I'm going to obey my maker and do my part. And I just want to encourage you all, reach out, hit me up. You know, you can message Dominique, you can message me, whatever you need to do to get in touch with us. Let's build, because time is running out. We need to be getting our passports. Everybody, you need to be working on your diet. Stop eating meat. Stop eating the animals. Thou shalt not kill. Get your passports. You got to be ready to go. You just never know what these people have planned, man. They crazy. We literally have lunatics running this country. And they do, really, we are the target, the melanated man, woman, and child. We are the target, ultimately. You know, they just trying to prolong this thing as long as they can. But, you know, while they playing their little games, we got to be preparing to get out of here, because destruction is coming. It's coming. It's coming from the north. Y'all know Russia, a part of the United States. Russia right up there by Canada on the northwest side. We've been utterly deceived. Everything is a lie. So we're going to keep bringing the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help us, Asha. Dominique, I really appreciate your time and all of that. And I'm just so grateful for all of you, brothers and sisters. Like, literally, it's time to come together. You know, and we got to get to the root of our issues. We got to get to the root of our problems, and we have to face it. We can no longer turn our back on these things. I want to live. I don't plan on dying. I'm sorry. Death is not for everybody. It's not for me. Okay. What about you, Dominique? I don't claim that. People be killing me. Like, everybody gonna die one day. The devil is a lie. I believe something totally different. I know something totally different. Not even believe it. I know it for a fact. So
we got to get back to the origin.
We got to get back to nature. Nature will sustain us. That's where we come from. We ain't got no business in these brick, concrete jungles. We supposed to be one with nature. Laying on the grass, on the bare ground with no cover, and just pulling apples and oranges and stuff, and just eating raw fruits and vegetables and living forever, right? So,
peace.
Yeah, shalom, so much shalom. So we appreciate everybody again. I keep trying to get off here, but I love my life. I love my people. I love what I'm doing. Like, this is what's up. And I want to
forget to mention a retreat.
Yes, the retreat. We have the retreat coming up in June 7th through the 23rd. So 17th. Yes, June 17th through the 23rd. We'll be in Punta Gorda, Belize for a week. We've been having these retreats where our brothers and sisters can come out, get back in tune with nature. We're going to be living outside. No running water, no electricity. You got our tents, we're bathing in the creek. We're gathering wood to cook our food. It's just getting back to nature, like the bare necessities. As long as we got food and shelter and water, that's all we need. We don't need all this stuff Babylon is deceiving us with. They're destroying nature.
Children only.
Huh? What'd you say?
Women and children only.
So it is going to be women and children only?
Yeah. Do you feel that we should still keep it that way?
Well, I mean, we don't want the brothers to feel no type of way. I mean, we could still have everybody come and then do our separate thing like we had discussed the first time, because we don't hate our men. We bring it blood raw, but at the end of the day, we got y'all back. And I speak for myself in my personal life. I help a lot of men out in my personal life, all different races of men. So we don't hate you all. We want you to do better, and we understand that we have to do better. We have to lead by example, right? If we're saying the women lead, the men protect, we got to lead by example. So I think we should, let the brothers come, because it's no men out here that are trying to bring the brothers together. They're trying to recruit you to be in a cult. You got all these different cults, these different religious cults, but nobody really getting to the root of the issue and trying to bring the brothers together, sincerely, so that you can heal.
Right.
Everybody gotta save themselves, but to provide a place for everybody to come together, we know that it's not happening here in North America. They're not going to let us assemble in peace. They're going to label us a terrorist group and try to jail us or anything. These people, they don't want any type of unity among the brown man, woman, and child, because they already know. Once we unify, it's a done deal. It's a done deal, and we'll have the kingdom back. So, yes. So, please be conscious of what you're eating, because we have to prepare our bodies, to go back into nature. That's where we're headed. Again, unless you want to go to the FEMA camps. So the choice is yours. You can come back to nature, or you can, because the government is going to starve you out. They're going to inflate everything, so you can't afford nothing. You're going to have to go see them. So, but we got, you got a choice. So come to the retreat. And get back in tune with nature. Come, liaise with your brothers and sisters, and just be free. Be free from the plantation of Babylon, having to worry about getting up, 7 o'clock in the morning and going to work, doing something you hate doing. Wake up to the birds chirping, to the monkeys over your head playing, little fig seeds dropping in your hair and stuff. Stress-free living. This is what has been promised to us. This is the covenant of peace that was passed on throughout the scriptures. It was always a covenant of peace. Just be obedient and do righteous things. Stop being wicked, and survive and live in peace in nature. That's what Shah wants us dwelling. She says she's going to cease the evil beasts out of the land. We don't have to worry about being attacked by animal or none of that. We're going to live in peace and harmony. That's why we can't be eating them. Because if they feel threatened, of course, if you felt threatened, what would you do? You're not going to just let nobody eat you. So, we got to be mindful of those things. Seriously, it's time to make some changes, some serious changes, if we want to see some serious changes. You understand? So, with all that said, I'm not going to talk y'all to death. I appreciate you for listening. Please tune in tomorrow at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard. We will have a new topic, and we will also, we'll be promoting it tomorrow. If you have any topics that you want to discuss, if you want to come on the show, we're not trying to hog the mic. We're not seeking attention. That's not what we do this for. So if you, have some show ideas, want to come on, just message us, let us know. We'll get it set up, because this is a forum for us to build, and we extend it to each and every one of you. So I'm going to just see if we have any comments real quick. You eat right, you think right. Indeed, health is wealth. A healthy body, a healthy mind, for sure. So, when you're eating animals, you never know how that animal was slaughtered, what that animal went through. And then you're eating all of those veins and muscles and all that blood, that, that fear that was running through that animal. And you wonder why you tripping. You about to lose it, because we're all spirits. Even the plants are alive. Everything is alive. It's all spiritual at the end of the day. So I don't really see any more comments or questions. Again, thank you so much. You have any last words, Dawn?
No, really just try to encourage everybody to try to make, better decisions. And, I mean, what can you get out of, what wrong can you get out of changing your life for the better?
Right. Indeed. So, when you know better, you do better, and, knowledge is the power. So keep seeking knowledge and do not be afraid of change. We will see you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard. Shalom, ahab. Mwah.